Hello, I'm Montgomery County Auditor Keith, and we're here with another episode of Odds and Ends. It's a program produced and hosted by the Montgomery County Auditor's Office with conversations with people out in the community and to hear more about them and the projects that they are involved with. We're really thrilled today to have with us Mike Newsom from the Fatherhood Initiative, Montgomery County Fatherhood Initiative. And I was telling him before we started here that I really don't know a whole lot about the Fatherhood Initiative, but I'm assuming that by the time this program is over, I'll know a lot more about it. So, Mike, thank you so much for being with us, and I wanted to come on and talk about what you do and what the Fatherhood Initiative is all about. So tell us what the Fatherhood Initiative is all about.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Carl. Well, the Fatherhood Initiative was formed in 2010 in Montgomery County. At that time, we were the only county in Ohio that had a fatherhood initiative that was actually a part of the county. There are a lot of 501c3s and different organizations that are working on fatherhood throughout the state, but I always give Montgomery County a lot of credit for having the foresight to dedicate an entire position to fatherhood, because fathers face a lot of specific challenges within the system and even within society. So we were really happy that came about. At that time, I was a child support supervisor for Montgomery County, which I did for my first 10 years, and then we formed the Montgomery County Fatherhood Initiative, which has been great. And really, what we try to do mostly, just from a general sense, and we can certainly get more specific, but it's to really help fathers navigate through the system and give fathers a lot of the, oftentimes in the social services, so many of the services seem to be geared more towards moms. As I tell fathers all the time, they're really geared more towards children, and most of the time the mothers have custody of the children, so that's why it seems that way. But fathers, of course, whether you're talking about child support, different things like that, face certain challenges that everyone doesn't. So we really want to do everything we can to address those.
So as part of Human Services for the county, is that what is part of Job and Family Services?
Yes.
Or what group is it with?
We were under Job and Family Services, but I now work for the Office of Strategic Initiatives.
Okay.
And so we're under that umbrella, along with the Office of Reentry, of course, and some of those other initiatives. And so that's kind of where we've been put at this point, but still doing many of the same things we did under JFS.
So it sounds like this is a pretty unique and progressive type of program. As you said, a lot of these types of programs generally are geared towards children or mothers, and so to gear it specifically to fathers makes it pretty unique, I guess.
It does, and we found a lot of success with it, because what we found with a lot of the fathers is they really are looking for somebody to kind of have their back, if you will. There a lot of times fathers experience with the system, as I call it, is usually negative. So, you're talking about oftentimes maybe it's incarceration, or even if it's just, telling them, hey, you need to pay your child support, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And, oftentimes, of course, again, you're dealing with public assistance and those type of things. A lot of times the mothers are receiving those, so they're usually on the receiving end. They're usually the ones that are getting the, hey, here's, we want to give you something, or we want to, help you out.
Child support.
Yeah, we want to help you out with child support. We want to help you out with this and that, and maybe, give you a crib for your child, and those different things. Whereas fathers, it's much more, hey, you need to step it up and do better, and all those type of things. And certainly we echo some of those sentiments. We want to make sure that the fathers are doing better and being held accountable. But at the same time, we want to make sure that they understand the system is there to work for them as well, and that they're, a valued part of our society and community, especially a lot of fathers that are non-custodial parents that don't live with their kids, and so oftentimes they don't get, whether you're talking about the schools, you're talking about a lot of different other entities, don't treat them as equal parents. And, so then a lot of those places don't treat them as equal parents, but then want to turn around and, expect them to act like equal parents, and so that obviously is a huge challenge for many fathers. Again, just being a single parent, also being a father. And then, as I mentioned, a lot of them are dealing with the incarceration. maybe didn't grow up very well, and so there are a lot of challenges that they face that are unique, and I think they really appreciate that we cater our services directly to them.
So it sounds like this could have some negative overtones to it, but you're also trying to approach it in a positive manner. You're trying to, there's some counseling, I think, it sounds like, and but it's also trying to direct them to some services, Mike, that might, am I getting the right feel here for this?
You are. A lot of it, you said, when you said counseling, a big part with the fathers is trying to improve their self-esteem, because so many of the fathers don't feel like that they really are in a position to be contributors to their kids'
They've been separated
success.
from the kids.
They've been separated from the kids. Again, all they've been told is, why don't you do this, and that, and why don't you give us more money, and why don't you do that, and all those negative things. And as you know, just by being a man out in society, we often get judged by our wallet, and so I'm a father, so even the fathers that are married and maybe are doing okay, we get turned into ATMs, and so it's okay to be an ATM, but if you're an empty ATM, then that could be very demoralizing for you. So what we want to do is make sure they understand that as the biological father, they have a very important role to play, because oftentimes the mom maybe has moved on, again, especially if the father's been incarcerated or something like that, and he feels like, well, the kids are in an okay place. I don't need to be a part of their lives anymore. But we make sure they understand that what they're bringing to the table is incredibly important, and there's no replacing a biological father, just like there's no replacing a biological mother. Although we do give a lot of value to father figures as well.
Yeah. So this program is airing. We think it's going to air in May, maybe June. Okay. But anyway, close to Father's Day. Yeah. So Father's Day is coming up, or when this comes up, and so you do some things specific around Father's Day.
Yeah, we do. We have a couple of great programs that we do. So we have a banquet. It's called the We the Fathers of Montgomery County Fatherhood Banquet, and so that event we're incredibly proud of. We're proud of all our events, but that event specifically is a $40 a plate dinner that we do at Sinclair, and we get so much corporate and other organizational sponsorship that we're able to give out free tickets to fathers and their families so that they can come to that event. Again, it's $40 a plate. It's on a Friday evening. Very nice. We have a band. Have a lot of great speakers. The great Judge Rice is always one of my speakers, and of course the commissioners and everybody will be there. But also, again, so many guys that are returning from incarceration and their families. We get them, hook them up with clothes that work, and they give them free suits.
Nice.
And they're able to come out and really, experience. As a few guys have told me, they were never really in a suit except for when they were defended in court. So certainly we want to, give them something different. Let them see something different. And again, most importantly, of course, their kids, so their kids can see them in a different light.
Right.
Instead of just there's nothing wrong with going to McDonald's, but at the same time, maybe showing them something a little different.
And so how many people come to this dinner?
Usually about 400.
Wow.
Wow. So we started in 2016, and it was really very successful from day one, because, it's just another signal that, the community loves fathers and wants to support fathers, but oftentimes it's our job just to kind of, show them how to do it and put them in that situation. So the banquet has been so successful because, as a very hands-on person myself, if somebody says, hey, would you come out and support this, I'm probably going to go to the event, talk to the people. But there are other people that would rather just write a check, and
sure.
So we're able to tap into that. Some of our great sponsors have, have been there from day one. And so they're very happy to be able to see the pictures afterwards that they were able to provide a father and his kids an upscale dinner, nice evening. Again, get to rub elbows with the Carl Keiths of the world, perhaps, and really,
You'll have to invite me.
Oh, absolutely. And I can't believe the commissioners have not gotten you to this. I'm going to talk to them about it, and Michael. We're happy to have you there. But again, it's great to have everybody in the same room because it gives them, especially the guys returning from incarceration, that sense of, we're all one community. Welcome back to the community, and we want to make sure that you understand that you're part of our community.
Spend some time with their children.
Absolutely.
And be more of a family thing back at.
That's
so
right.
How did they find out about it? How did the fathers find out and get involved with this?
Excellent question. So one of my, you're asking for some tricks in my trade now, but I'm going to give you some tricks now. But anybody that, again, has trouble maybe getting people, you've been to events and there aren't that many people there, what you do is you tap into, some service providers and different people and have them bring the people.
Sure.
So, again, we get the corporate sponsorship, and then I'll give, let's say, 50 tickets to the probation department. And the probation department will, fill the seats for me. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I'll give 50 tickets to Dayton Public Schools and the Office of Reentry and those type of things, and they fill the seats for us. So, again, it's a great thing because they're intimately familiar with those clients. They know who is going to actually attend and who isn't, and they're able to tap into that. And of course, it gives them a lot of pride because they're able to do something nice for their clients, and so that and so we like that, and that makes them like us, and then it's just a good way to do business.
It's probably grown over the years.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, the first year we were probably at some 250, 300, and then now it's kind of that last week or two. I'm like, hey, I don't have any more tickets, so yeah.
Well. It sounds like there's a real need. I mean, you were talking about that kind of numbers and that type of involvement. It sounds like there's a real need here.
Yeah, definitely. Because, again, you can't expect these guys to come out of incarceration, and just all of a sudden, start doing better without supporting, and so it's just it's amazing. Again, even in Montgomery County especially, I tell people we have a lot of services you can refer to. We're not asking you to be hands-on and go up and talk to the guys and find them a job, etc. But at the very least, reach out, and so that we can take the wheel and kind of get things done for you, and we'll talk to the guys. So that's the message we're trying to constantly put out there, not only with the events, but just doing a lot of public education. We're always letting all the different organizations know how important fatherhood is and making them, tying it in or connecting the dots for them and say, this affects you. I had a lady at the job center that at this one hallway I would go down, she would always say, when you going to start the motherhood program? And so I would always tell her, we're helping mothers by helping fathers.
Sure.
So
helping the whole family.
Absolutely. So, I mean, so much of the complaints from moms, single moms, a lot of times, rightfully so, is, I can't afford this. I can't run all these kids around to soccer and do all that.
Not getting any support from the father.
Exactly. So when we give fathers, in the space where they need to be, then, I mean, they're a huge help to the whole family. And so I think that's the message we're constantly trying to put out there.
So you have the dinner on it's a Friday night, and then there's another program then the next night.
Yes, the next day. So we always say Friday night is the suits and ties, and Saturday is shorts and t-shirts.
Okay.
So we do the t-shirts, shorts and t-shirts, and we do give away free t-shirts. And it's more of a like a cookout. And it has traditionally been at Island Park since like 2012, but we've moved it to Levitt Pavilion this year, which is going to be great. And it's we'll serve food, free food, of course. Again, the T-shirts. We have a lot of service providers that set up tables, and we're able to get the public a lot of information and resources that they need. And then we'll have games for the kids. That same band that plays on Friday night will be out there on Saturday. And,
okay, that's nice.
Yeah, and we just make it a really top secret. Is the band that we always use, kind of my house band, I call them. but yeah, so we really kind of make it a festive atmosphere. And so we're trying to create things that are consistent, so people know, and it's happened because every year, about this time, people start going, "You having that picnic? You having that?" Sure. And that's what we want, because I was fortunate to grow up with a great dad, but a lot of people weren't, and so just to be able to do something that they can count on every year, that's free. Again, you get fed, and you get to have a good time, and it's a safe environment.
Sure.
And so we really value being able to do that with the county.
Well, this is amazing. What got you into I mean, you're clearly bought into this whole concept, right? So what really motivates you? What motivates you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So that's what's so cool about doing the fatherhood work is you can come at it from a lot of different ways. As I mentioned, my parents have been married for 55 years. I have a great dad. So I was always much more on the pay it forward, path. But there are a lot of guys that work in fatherhood work that are much more on the, hey, I don't want anybody to go through, not having a father like I did. I just had a young man come up to me. We were doing an outreach event out in one of the housing projects here recently, and he came by the table. I said, hey, what's going on with you and your dad? He said, I don't even know my dad. And so I said to him, well, that's something that you don't want to repeat. You know how that feels. So you certainly don't want to repeat that. And I just think it's important for us to talk to the kids like that. But the way I really got into the position probably was because, as you know, from working in the social services for a long time, there aren't a lot of men working in the social services.
Well, that's true.
Yes, right.
That's
so,
true.
I mean, there are more now. But when I was with child support, literally I was, other than the director, I was the only male supervisor there. So that being said, when it was time to do some community outreach, maybe in some not so great places, maybe in the evening, maybe on Saturdays and that type of stuff, I usually got nominated to do that. But fortunately, I enjoy doing that type of thing. I think I was, pretty good at it. And so from that point, we were able to transition into, hey, let's do something that really is dedicated towards that. And then started to build the community partners, the Judge Rices and those different type of people. I mean, without them, certainly we wouldn't have been able to sustain it, but it's been awesome.
I'm fortunate that I grew up with a great dad. And I lost my dad when I was 23 and to cancer. Yeah. And that's one of those things. It takes a while to get over that. Yeah. But when you have wonderful memories and a good model, it pays dividends long term.
That's right.
And I certainly have run into people in my career. Certainly run into areas of the community. I think where an absentee father is a really a major problem, and I guess this is kind of trying to help that gap. I guess
it is. As Judge Rice always says, one of his great nuggets is he's been on the bench for over 50 years, and he's read thousands upon thousands of pre-sentencing reports, and he said the common theme on all those pre-sentencing reports, those people he's about to sentence, is lack of a positive male role model. You know, and so again, it's just such a an indicator, oftentimes, of how things are going to go. They're
future
really
problems.
And I mean, you can. I'm also an adjunct out at for Sinclair out at Dayton Correctional, and those ladies there. I mean, I can go around the room and I can say, hey, who had a good relationship with their father? And I mean, there's 20 students there. I mean, I'm lucky if 2 or 3 put their hand up, and so it's not really a coincidence, And so that's what we're always trying to make sure that people understand that the father's role is so important for a variety of reasons. Sometimes in ways that people don't really comprehend. Like you said, you and I think maybe grew up with good fathers. We kind of have taken it for granted, but we also work in the social services, so we've seen plenty of situations where that's not the case.
Sure.
And so, but I think that's kind of the basis. We're always we're trying to move away from mom in a program to mom and dad is what I'm always telling agencies. When mom comes in and says, hey, I need this, this, and this, first question is say, where's dad? Not I got a program for you that can fill in that gap. How about the first thing you say is, where's dad? Because the 2 parents are really the ones that should be raising and taking care of their children.
Well, okay. So if somebody wants to find out more or wants to be more involved, or if there roles for volunteers here, do you look for volunteers to help with any of this?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we can, definitely just they can just contact me. My number's 937-225-4759, and we will certainly get them involved in any way we can. Obviously, we have to, be careful and make sure that we, know who we're dealing with and all those different type of things. But there's always a variety of ways. I mean, I
imagine you have some volunteers at the picnic.
We do. We have volunteers. Let me tell you what we do. One of the ways that Montgomery County is so great about collaborating. So I mentioned the probation department earlier. if you pull up and you're a service provider at our picnic, what will happen is some guys that all have our T-shirts on will probably come help you with your stuff out of the car and all that other stuff. Those are guys on probation that are getting community service hours to be able to, be at our event. The probation office will give them credit for doing that. And so again, we really try to make sure that we're involving everybody. A young lady that came out of federal prison that is in Judge Rice's reentry court actually designed our T-shirts for this year. So we're really trying to make sure that we put our money where our mouth is, so to speak. We want to involve everybody that we're trying to help. I don't want to go out to the public and say, why don't you help these people and whatever, and then I'm not working with any of them myself, So I certainly we want to do that. But yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for people just really to attend our events and be active fathers and be good fathers. And before I forget, the events are for the whole family. I know first few years I might have gotten a little trouble for that because I had moms come to me. I was gonna go, but I heard it was for all fathers. It's not true. It's to celebrate fathers.
It's a family
event. To celebrate fathers and to support fathers. But everybody is welcome at all of our events.
Well, this just sounds like a wonderful program, and it sounds like you're trying to make a difference one person at a time. It's not like a big mass thing, but it's one person at a time making a difference.
You're right. And you'd be surprised, Carl, how many we make one person at a time, but they spread it. Sure. And they really bring in, they say, hey, you gotta come and work on this. And of course, that's the best advocacy you can get if you get the peers and the people that you're serving advocating for you. Then of course, that's going to do better than anything we can say, because they'll say, well, of course you're going to ask me to come to your program. It's your program. But if you have somebody that's been to the program and says, they're really serious about what they're talking about, and they, it's fun, but they're also going to help you and give you a lot of information. That's what we like.
Is there anything about the Fatherhood Initiative I haven't asked that you think people would like to know?
No, I think I would just maybe add that we also have another program now called the Every Parent Matters program, which is which is through public health, and that came about with a huge grant from the Ohio Department of Medicaid, and they contracted with us since we already had some things in place. And so I've been doing a lot of, over the years with the clients, a lot of triage, if you will, getting them their services and then moving on. We have 3 guys now that can carry caseloads, which is great. So, and it's a home visiting program. So a lot of these things are pretty unprecedented. If you look around, Montgomery County is ahead of the curve in so many of these things, and so we want to make sure that we're continuing to support those programs. And as I say, if anybody needs, a lot of the organizations, they really are just more used to dealing with moms, and that's okay. But if they run into a father that they need help with, hopefully they'll reach out to us so we can kind of take the ball and run with it. And lastly, of course, we just want to make sure all the fathers understand, of all socioeconomic classes, races, etc., that your presence, your PRESENCE, not your presence, PRESENTS.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that they understand that, and many of us have known people that maybe are even affluent, and they don't have great relationships with their kids or maybe with their fathers because they just give them money or whatever. They need you to be there. Like I said, my father was a maintenance man at Central State, but I'll sit here and talk all day about what a great guy he was and is, because he was always there. And when we hear grown-ups break down and start crying about their father, they don't ever say, he didn't buy me a car, he didn't take me to Kings Island. They say
he wasn't there.
He wasn't there. I looked up in the stands of the Little League game, everybody else's dad was there and mine wasn't. So that's what we're consistently trying to make sure that the community fathers understand, and that people that serve fathers understand as well.
Time. Giving time to their children.
Absolutely.
Nothing more valuable than that.
Yes, I have a colleague.
Yeah.
That's great. I have a colleague that says kids spell love TIME, so you're right on the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I have really enjoyed getting to know you and getting to know about the Fatherhood Initiative. I think it's a great program. Do you want to give that phone number one more time?
Sure will. It's 937-225-4759. My email address is newsomm@mcohio.org. So yeah, you just reach out. Again, even if it's just like you said, to find out some extra information, or if you have some specific issue that you want to deal with or talk about, we'll be happy to reach back to you.
Great. Well, thank you again for being here. Thank you for what you do.
Okay.
And the service you're providing in the community. It's really, I think, sounds like it's making a real difference within an area that needs some support. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Carl.
And that will do us for this month's issue or episode of Odds and Ends, and we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.